and I'm not saying I'm a good cop, I'm not a bad cop, but I mean, what do cops even do?
I know this video is a little longer than usual, but if you make your way through the entire thing, it'll be worth it because it encapsulates and puts an exclamation point on this. And this is solidified by none other than an active duty deputy. In this video entitled Special Forces Deputy Sheriff, All Cops Lie, Cheat, and Steal, Deputy Josh Barker begins his video where he's trying to convince his audience that not all cops are bad by saying this.
I hate cops. I hate cops. Why do I hate cops? Well, all they do is lie, cheat, and steal. They're corrupt. They harass people. They hurt people. They just abuse their power. They scare people. All they want to do is flash their shiny gun and want to write citations, want to arrest people, drink their coffee, and eat their donuts and get fat. I mean, what do cops even do?
Deputy Barker goes into his military background, what he did after the military, trying college, and then doing what he never thought he would do. He became a deputy. Then he says this.
I just gave this little speech or class a couple days ago to the high school kids. They asked if I'd speak for career day. I went and I spoke to them, and I opened up with what I just opened up now. And I asked them the question, are all cops bad? And they're kind of confused because I'm in uniform. They're kind of confused. They're like, well, no. And I was like, why not? The media portrays us all being bad, all incompetent, wanting to hurt people, and not knowing people's rights, not supporting people's rights.
Not really. Overall, mainstream media is supportive of the military and the police. Mainstream media is, after all, the propaganda arm for the military-industrial complex, Wall Street, and the defense contractors. And cops are really no different. Yeah, there are occasions that become so egregious that there's such an outcry from the public that they have to cover a story of, say, a Tyree Nichols beating or the abuse of a Karen Garner, or the overwhelming evidence that cops really aren't there to protect you like we saw out of 376 disgusting failures at Uvalde.
Cops are bad. Everyone hates cops. Well, then some people start asking, well, I don't hate cops. Okay. Then I asked the question, are there good teachers and bad teachers? As I'm looking at a teacher. And they're like, well, yeah. Are there good principals and bad principals? Are there good counselors, bad counselors? Are there good therapists, bad therapists? Are there good doctors and bad doctors? Or are they all good? Or are they all bad? Good nurses, bad nurses? How about this? Good electricians, good plumbers, good contractors, or bad electricians, bad plumbers, and bad contractors? For those of you that are in trade jobs, how many times have you gone to a job where the person before you completely messed it up? Oh, so there's good in every profession, and there's bad in every profession. Okay, huh. So that means there has to be good cops and bad cops, right? Okay. Because if they're all bad, then how are we still here? If they're all bad, how is there still a job?
This is a horrible argument. It'd be like the Germans saying in the 1930s, if the Nazis are so bad, how are they still here? Nearly everybody knows that all politicians are bad, but it's still a highly paid, lucrative job that still exists for some reason. We know the military-industrial complex and the Pentagon are responsible for tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of deaths and the destruction of innumerable towns and cities and the plundering of vast resources all across the world, but they're still here. So what kind of argument is this? If you wonder how such an abusive organization as law enforcement is still here and how Mao's police force or the Nazi SS still existed within their respective countries for so long and were accepted and supported by the masses, well, you don't have to look any further than the psychological condition called Stockholm Syndrome and the truths revealed in Stanley Milgram's experiment on obedience to authority figures. People who are intimidated and scared of their abusers end up empathizing with their abusers' actions and supporting their goals. Throw in a healthy and effective dose of pro-police propaganda and a couple catchy slogans like "to protect and serve," and create a culture of symbolism, and you end up with a mentally neutered society that buys the garbage Josh Barker is selling. But wait, he's just getting started.
There's been times in my career, my short career in law enforcement, 4 years in law enforcement, and there's been moments of frustration. And there's been moments where I've debated on getting out, on not being a cop anymore, not being a deputy anymore. And those moments are seeing other bad cops, seeing other shitty cops, either seeing it in person or hearing about it from somebody else or seeing it on social media, on the news. Because it shows a bad light on all of us. You see a bad plumber, contractor, electrician, you're hesitant to get another one because you're afraid you're going to waste your money on another person. I've thought about getting out many times, but then I'm reminded that there's a lot of people that still need us. There's a lot of bad cops out there, but there's also a lot of good cops out there. One person has told me, Josh, if you got out and all the good cops got out, and I'm not saying I'm a good cop, I'm not a bad cop, but I'm learning. So I'm a learning cop, right?
This is bizarre to me. Josh can't even call himself a good cop? What the heck is up with that? If you are out there genuinely protecting and serving people, you know it. If you're out there safeguarding rights and taking down all the bad cops who are enforcing the unconstitutional drug war, for example, and you're out there arresting cops who steal money under civil asset forfeiture laws, you dang well know you're a good cop. That he can't just outright call himself a good cop reveals exactly why people say there are no good cops. And if there are still questions out there on whether there are good cops or not, this video is the final nail in the coffin. The man who's trying to convince you that there are good cops, at least initially, can't even tell you that he's one of them. Now, later he's going to say, I know I'm a good cop, actually.
I know I'm a good cop, actually.
But it just sounds like he's trying to convince himself in front of an audience he's trying to convince. Hang on tight, though, because in a minute, Josh is going to unintentionally admit that he's a very bad cop.
I try to be the best that I can be. But that's everything I do. I try to be the best dad I can be, the best person, the best man. I never want to hurt anyone. I try to be the best person that I can be. They're like, Josh, if you get out and all the good cops get out, what's that leave us? Why can't you be that person that people look up to and aspire to be? If there's nothing but bad cops left, then it's going to get worse. Everyone's going to think worse of the cops. But there has to be good cops offset the bad cops. And I pride myself to be a good cop. I know I'm a good cop, actually. And I know that because if I have to do certain things, i.e. do traffic stops, have to write citations because whatever, because my job, and I have to make an arrest because someone broke the law, someone got hurt, someone stole something, whatever. One, I try to talk to them as a person. You have to do that as a cop because we're all human. Everyone makes mistakes. Just because you're being arrested doesn't mean you're a bad person. And just because I arrest you doesn't mean I think you're a bad person. So I try to talk to these guys, whether it's drug related or someone assaulted someone or it's theft or whatever. I try and talk to them. Hey man, what's going on? Like, what do you need help with? Because the answer isn't just arresting someone. You got to talk to them person to person and try to help them. That's why I got in this profession, is to help people. And it blows my mind the number of cops out there that are too quick to throw on the handcuffs and not ask the bigger questions. Not just, did you do it, and try to get someone to admit to it if they did it. But how can we fix this? How can you fix yourself? You know, I don't like people on drugs. I hate people on drugs. It destroys not only their life, you know, but their mind and their body. It fries their brain, and I hate that. I would rather help someone than just to throw them in jail.
I don't know what specifically he's talking about here, but we can hazard a guess. In the last 50 years, law enforcement compliance with the war on drugs was at its core a war on people who just wanted to be left alone to pursue life and happiness. If people pursue happiness by taking drugs, it's their life. They should be free to do that. But the law enforcement community says, no, we're not going to let you do that. Through the drug war, law enforcers have ruined more lives than drugs ever could. How many have been put into a cage for simple possession of a plant? And guys like this put those people in cages. And because of that, the prison industrial complex was born, courtesy of all those good cops out there. That's absolutely psychopathic. And it's exactly what normal people expect when others turn off their moral compass and just start following orders.
That's a big reason why I am still in law enforcement, is because I do see the amount of people that I help. And it's way more. I don't hurt anyone, actually.
It's almost like he was gonna say, I help way more than I hurt. And that's not Duper's Delight we're looking at, is it?
But it's got to offset, right? The amount of good has to offset the amount of bad that people are doing out there as cops. There's a lot of bad cops. I see cops on YouTube or whatever. There's a lot of dumb or bad cops, and I hate it. It makes us all look bad. But if we start walking around with a camera crew with all the bad teachers, all the bad electricians, contractors, doctors. I mean, how many bad doctors are out there? How many malpractice lawsuits are out there? You don't hear about it because you just assume doctors are good, right? They're just wanting to help people. Well, I guarantee you most cops join law enforcement just to help people. But yet, all people see are the bad ones.
Here's the problem. No doctor, unless they're a big pharma doctor, or plumber, electrician, teacher, or roofer, signed a contract saying they would enforce all laws. Since most laws serve the twofold purpose of taking away your rights and stealing your money, most laws are evil. And since most laws are evil, and you call yourself a law enforcer, you are the agent or enforcer of evil. You promise to turn a parasitic politician's evil words into evil actions. You are responsible for that, Josh. That's the key element that makes all cops bad. Further, when you see cops doing bad, you'd think you'd also see all these good cops come out of the woodwork arresting the bad cops. But you don't. You see the thin blue brotherhood line of protection and silence.
Camera crews following the bad ones around. But what if a doctor or a nurse or a teacher had to wear a body cam? And then when something happens, that body camera gets shown to the public. How many doctors would want to be a doctor if they had to wear a body camera? That number would dwindle significantly. But yet you got a lot of cops that still want to be cops. And the pressure's on us because there's cameras everywhere. There's cameras on our cars. There's cameras on our bodies. Some cameras on guns. Cameras on people's phones. Scrutinizing everything you do. You go in the operating room and you have a camera right in front of you and you're like, all right, dude, don't mess up. I got you. Right? Do you think he's going to mess up? Knowing that someone else is right there?
It's almost like he's trying to establish a false equivalence with a doctor trying to save a life holding a scalpel and a cop trying to take a life holding a gun. Even when cops aren't out there shooting and tasing innocent people and pets, they're issuing tickets and violating rights. You can't compare a doctor who took the Hippocratic oath to a cop who takes a contradictory and hypocritical oath.
We should be held to a higher standard. Don't get me wrong. Cops most definitely should be held to a higher standard. Absolutely believe that. And we treat all laws the same. You have to treat all laws the same, black and white, right? We can't just enforce one law and not enforce the rest of them. That's why we have law enforcement.
Boom! And there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. We are order followers and enforce all laws. The most dangerous person on this planet is the man who just does what he's told. The one who just follows orders. Mr. Give me your papers, please. I'm just doing my job. It's the law, so I have to take your freedoms away today. It's the law, so I have to issue this $300 ticket and report it to your insurance company so your premiums can skyrocket. Besides that, he's lying. They do exercise officer discretion whenever they want, wherever they want. They have the power to ruin your life, give you a hard time, force you to have a conversation with them, threaten you, abuse you, and cage you, and they do it all under qualified immunity and Terry v. Ohio.
Everyone hates being pulled over, traffic stops, whatnot, but they want to be rescued if someone broke into their house. They want to be rescued if their husband or wife is beating the crap out of them. But they don't want us to enforce the laws when it's, the smaller laws, like violating traffic laws, right?
In other words, you want us to rescue you, but you don't want us to violate your freedom and economically terrorize you through unconstitutional traffic laws? What's wrong with you? Josh Barker is one of them.
And he can't have it that way. As law enforcement, you place law enforcement to enforce all the laws and all the laws equally.
All the laws, even the unconstitutional, harsh, cruel, and evil ones. And this is exactly why people say all cops are bad. And Josh Barker's testimony solidifies that fact better than any civilian ever could. I left a comment under his video, and if you want to read that and respond to it, I'll leave the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, know what your rights are and exercise your rights. If you don't exercise your rights, you're not going to be free and you're going to lose the rights you have left. I'll see you in the next video.